Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Palindromic Lines. Now, just before I get onto today's puzzle, you might be noticing some music in the background, and I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to keep it, so for the moment I've just put it as part of this introduction section, and depending on your comments, I may keep it for the solve as well as just this introduction. Now, palindromic lines, of course, very difficult to visualize because palindromes is all about, I think it's predominantly about words reading the same forwards and backwards. It's not really a word that can be overloaded with a different meaning. So the best I can do here is Sleuth is in a gallery of some sort where the artist, for some reason, is obsessed with lines and images that are reflective / mirrored of one another, which you can see in all of the artwork that's hanging inside this gallery. Right, given of course this is a weekend puzzle, this is still a 2-star difficulty rated puzzle. It's amongst the highest rated 2-star difficulty rated puzzles for, I'm going to say January of 2024, so I'm really looking forward to it. And let's take a look at today's puzzle. What do we have in store? So, Palindromic Lines by LMDemasi, and we have a fairly straightforward set of rules. If I take you quickly through them, regular Sudoku rules apply, so that means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box, of course without any repeats. Then we have in-between lines. So the lines with circles on each end are between lines. The value on the line lies strictly between the values in the circles, and digits may repeat on a between line if other rules allow it. So for example, let's take a look at this gigantic between line. We've got essentially 2 circles in here. I could put something like a 2 and an 8 in there. And all that's saying is that all the digits that line up on this in-between line have to be between the digits 2 and 8. And I emphasize between 2 and 8, so it's not inclusive of 2 or 8, so this would be from 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Now, equally, nothing stops us from repeating digits. So that could be a 7, that could be a 7, not an 8, and that could be a 7 as well, because obviously with Sudoku rules, they're in different rows, columns, and boxes. So repeating is just fine. I'll take you a look through the rest of the rules because repeating is actually going to be absolutely necessary. Then we've got arrow sum rules. So digits along an arrow sum to the digits in the attached circle. Digits may repeat in an arrow if allowed by other rules. And again, they really do have to repeat. Let me see if I can take you one that doesn't solve. Let's take this arrow, for example. This could be from 1, 2, and 3. And therefore, as you sum these up, they have to add up to 6. So that would be a way of completing the arrows. Now, here is the bit where it's actually going to force a lot of repeats of the digits, the palindrome lines. So by removing the circles and all arrows and between lines by removing the circles, all arrows and between lines become palindrome lines. And the digits on a palindrome line read the same forwards and backwards. So essentially, it's almost like LMDemasi is saying, forget this cell for a second. Just mark it out as red. This is now a palindrome line. And therefore, whatever this digit is, A has to be the same here. That's B, would have to be the same here. And obviously, because this is Sudoku rules, this digit here would have to be different from A and B. But you can see immediately that now we actually have to have a lot of repeats. And my example of the 2 7s here is actually absolutely necessary because these 2 are on a palindrome line that you can see here, and therefore it must read the same forwards and backwards. These 2 cells must be the same, and these 2 cells must be the same. Right. If all of that is not necessarily confusing you at this point, link will be in the description down below for you to play along as usual. You can admire the artist's handiwork of all of the symmetrical images. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So I'm really going to focus probably on, this arrow definitely catches my attention, as do these in-between lines, just purely because of the size of them. Well, I'm more tempted by the arrow because, you see, the minimum I can make this is 1 and 2. And therefore, because of this palindrome line nature, this is 1 and 2. So I'm already at 6 with the minimum. And this digit here is a minimum of 3. That's at 9 already. So that's actually forced entirely on this arrow. That's a 9. That's a 3. And these have to be from 1 and 2 to make sure this doesn't go beyond 9. Can't put 10 inside a single cell here. Now, I am almost certainly going to use letters today. I think if I try and use colors, this would just be impossible to see, I think. Although I might use colors. Sorry, I should actually say what I'm kind of, as I'm looking at this and taking this grid all in. So for example, this circle is made up, or this, sorry, arrow sum is made up of 2 of the same digits. So I know that this has to be, and I'm going to use blue for that, an even digit. Now, equally, these 2 cells have to be the same because they're on a palindrome, but, you know, these 2 are going to add up to an even digit. And therefore, I need to add another even digit to make sure that I get to an even digit in here. So I might end up using colors for parity. That may be useful. And you can see the minimum this can be is 3. The minimum this can be is 3. 3 and 3 is 6. That's a minimum of 2 to make sure that this is an even digit. And in fact, 8 is the highest even digit that we can do. So that's 8, that's 4, that's 4. These are 3, 2, 3. That 2 gives me a 1, a 2, a 2, a 1, and we're off and racing here. Okay. I mean, I can see that 1 and 2 are now in here. 1 can never be on an in-between line because obviously the minimum that can be is a 1 and it's not inclusive. So can never have a 1 or a 9 on an in-between line. Can I do much with this arrow at this point? You can see that 1 and 2 are not allowed, and therefore this is a minimum of 3, minimum of 3, minimum of 1. This is already at 7. Now obviously the maximum here is 9, so I could do double 4 with a 1, or I could do double 3 with a 2 to get to 8. So that's a complete pencil mark of this arrow, but not really enough if I'm honest. Right, I've ignored the in-between lines long enough. So let's take a look at what they're doing, and I am going to use letters for these. So imagine that this is no, not what I wanted to do. Imagine that this is, no, I'm going to have to use small letters so that I don't lose the corner pencil marks. Imagine that's A, therefore that's A. That's B, and it has to be different because it can see A in the same row, and obviously the palindrome would also see A in the same row. And again, these 2 would have to be different. Now, you can see that at least for C, C is 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So this is, am I going to do this? Probably. This is at least 5, 6, or 7, possibly even 8. Because, neither C sees an 8. A and B, however, do see an 8, but let me just take a look at what they can be. So the B can see a 3, a 2, obviously 1 can never be on a palindrome. It can even see a 4 here, and an 8. So this is not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. So again, we're doing 5, 6, 7, not an 8, and obviously never a 9 on an in-between line. So this is 5, 6, or 7 for this B. And then the A can see a 3, can see a 2, or kind of twice, can see a 4. Can it see a 4? No, it can't see a 4. It can be a 4, but it can't be an 8. So it's essentially sort of almost like the flip side of whatever C is. This is 4, 5, 6, or 7. 4, 5, 6, or 7, but not 8 because it can see 8 in the same box. That wasn't exactly helpful, really, was it? I'm going to keep going for now with this in-between line just to see where it gets me. So A, B, and C, I'm going to do D, E, and F. So that's D, D. Looking at the shape of it, it is again, yeah, it have to be unique because they're all in the same row. So D, E, and F, they are different digits. That E is repeated in here. And what can they be? So F is not 2, is not 3, not 4, and not 8. So this is 5, 6, or 7. And again, 5, 6, or 7. Remember, can never be a 9, although in this case, F can see the 9 and F can actually see the 1. E here, it's not, oh yeah, it's not 2, it's not 3, it's not 4, and it's not 8. So E, once again, is from 5, 6, and 7. And this E is 5, 6, or 7. And now, take a look at that. We've got a triplet in here of 5, 6, 7. In fact, take a look at this. We've got a triplet of 5, 6, 7 in box 5. C is actually 8. Be very interesting to see what D is. So D is not 3, not 4. So it's 4, 5, sorry, not 4. It's 2, 5, 6, or 7, but not 8 again. So this is 2, 5, 6, 7. 2, 5, 6, 7. Now we know that D is not F or E, and we know that B is the third triplet of 5, 6, and 7. Can D see B at all? No. Yes. D is forced to be a 2. No. There you go. That's a 2. And how about A, actually? I haven't thought about that. Does A see F and E? And I'm not sure it does. So A sees B, A sees E. If we can see F somehow, that would be magical, because that would force A to be a 4 then. I'm sure that's the intended path. There's probably a way for me to prove this. But maybe I need to sort of take the puzzle a bit further before I can. I can't see it. So let's think about what this is. This is 1, 4, or 9. Well, that 1 tells me this is... When you use letters, it's sort of frustrating in that you end up always constantly typing in the wrong number. Anyway, that's forced to be a 1 because of Sudoku. This is a 4-9 pair. What else do we need in here? So E, you can immediately see, is up there. Because where does E go in this? I haven't got 5, 6, or 7 in any of these pencil mark cells or written in cells. And E can't be in these two. That's E. And therefore B is down here with a 3. Yep. So that's 3, 3 with a B. So that's B, E, and F sorted. E, B, F, and E sorted in here. I know what these 3 cells are now. I need 2, 8, and 2, 8, and 4. Well, 4 is in neither of these cells. That's a 4. These are from 2 and 8. That 2 gives me an order. That's an 8. That's a 2. These are also known. I think they're 1, 9. Yeah, 1, 9. E means this is F and B. B is here. That gives me an order. That's B. That's F. What was A again? A can see B. And now can see F. And can see E. A is forced now. It is a 4. That's a phenomenal puzzle so far. So these are from 1 and 2. That 4 forces these to be a 3. 3 means I can no longer get to 9. So this is from 7 or 8. Remember, if it's a 7, it means that it's one of these B, E, and F. So I imagine as we continue our Sudoku, we'll probably figure that out. F and B means there's an E in here with a 9. I don't know where that is. That's E9. F is up here to complete this with 8 and 9. So this is 8, 9, F, and this is presumably E and B. Sorry, E and B. Okay, well, B and E. And now we've got 9EB, 1, 2, 3. So we have F and so much harder when you're having to continuously discount 5, 6, and 7. So it's got an 8 and a 4. So it's 4, 8, and F. So F with a 4, 8. That 4, in fact, 4 is just forced because of these 4s. I don't know why I didn't see that. That's a 4. That's not 8 either. That's F, F, 8. Is it worthwhile? I am going to actually do this because at least it stops me from doing any silly Sudoku mistakes where I just accidentally, write in the letter. So that's B, that's 9 or E. Okay, that's not known. These are not known. Fair enough. Oh, that 2 is actually known. So that's 1, that's 2, that's 8. So this is not B, E, or F because it's an 8. That's not an 8. That's 9 or F. That's not an E. I've got an E looking at it. So yeah, rewriting it was helpful. That's B, that's E. We now know that E, well, it depends what this is. Because if this is F, it doesn't actually help me figure out if E is smaller than B or bigger. But obviously if it's 8 or 9, and we know that these are from 5, 6, or 7, then I know that E is bigger than B. And I imagine that's the way to resolve these 5, 6, 7 triplets. Can I do anything else? What can I do? So remember, these are... No, I don't even know that. These could be just 5 and 6. Because I don't have a B on this palindrome anymore. What I do know is because I've got a 2 is one of these have to be a 1. How about a bit of Sudoku just to see if I can figure out what is going on now. I'll be honest, I feel a little bit lost. 4s, 4s, 4 is in one of these 2 cells. That's a 9. That's a 4. Doesn't exactly help me. Twos. Yeah, 2. Any more 2s? Yes, I think that's all the 2s now. Yeah, that's 2s done. 3s. 3. That's a B. That's a 3. 3 is in one of these 2 cells. 3 is too small. Because remember, one of these has to be a 1. If I put it in this in-between line, then I'm saying that all of these digits are now between 1 and 3, which they clearly aren't. So 3 can't be on this circle. 3 is in here. And 3 is now done as well. Yep, 4's nearly. You can see I've got kind of a 4 X-wing here. That's all the 4's. 1's, I really haven't done much with 1's, but actually I can do something with 1's. That's a 1. 1 now is restricted in here. 1 is none of these. 1 is one of 2 cells. 1 of 3 cells, not helpful. Not quite enough, really. Hang on, no, it is enough. 1 is in 1 of 3 cells. That's not a 1. That is a 1. 1 has to be in one of these in between circles. That's the 1, therefore. That's not a 1. And remember, this has to be bigger than 5 or 6 at an absolute minimum, and it's not 8. So this is from 7 or 9. 7 being B. If B is a 7, that would actually work, because E and F would have to be 5 or 6. And then this is 7 or 9 again, just to complete the row. I'm sort of tempted to just to remind myself that there is a B in one of these two, so I will write it in as such. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, how about this line? I've got an 8 on this line and a 1. That's a 9. That gives me a ton of progress. So, no, 9, E, 9, 9, 1, 9, not a 1, 1. That's 1's done. 9's so very nearly done. You can see now the 9's. Yeah, that's not a 9. That's a B. And B is almost certainly confirmed to be... It doesn't have to be a 7, because that's now a 9. That doesn't tell me anything about these, because they're between 1 and 9, which basically everything is. So it doesn't help me that way. That's not 9. 9 is in one of these 2 cells, so that's not a 9 either. That is a 9. And in fact, when I say one of these 3 cells, I've got 9's in here. I've basically done all the 9's. That's a B. That's a B. Just completing row 7. And come on, Sleuth. These are F and E. F here tells me that's an E. That's an F. E, you can see, is fairly restricted. E is in the circle in here. F is on this side. What is that cell? B. And in here, it is 8 and F. So nearly done. Here is E and F, I'm going to say. And in fact, we do have an order. That's E. Therefore, that's F. That's E. This is 4 and B. That B gives me an order. That's B. That's 4. Therefore, that's 4. That's 8 or F. And I can't seem to resolve it for some reason. Okay. 8 or F. And presumably this is 8 or F again. Oh, ho, ho. Okay. How am I resolving these? Am I just missing something? Must be. I don't think I made a mistake, so presumably I just need to think a little bit about these in between lines. So essentially, either E, so let's think about the circle. Either this is 8 or F. If it's F, this would be, essentially we're saying E is between B and F. 8, oh come on, Sleuth, that was the answer. 8 cannot be in the middle. We know F is either 5, 6, or 7, as is E. 8 is the biggest digit in here. That has to be an 8. And therefore that's an F. That's an F. That's an 8. That's an F. That's an 8. And now we can probably figure out what E, F, what B, E, and F are. In particular, E is between, so we've got essentially a run of 5, 6, 7. That's the middle digit. That has to be a 6. Now you can see the F is forced. That has to be a 7 because it's between 6 and 8 exactly. That makes B a 5. And if I've not made any mistakes, that's the answer for today's puzzle. Lovely puzzle, LMDemasi. What a beautiful puzzle. I mean, generally speaking, I tend to jump to letters far more often than others. I imagine some of you are going to actually use a lot more colors than I have. I only used this for parity and really only to kind of get this 8. And then I didn't really use it again. So I'm very curious to see how you guys would have solved this without the use of letters. I'm sure some of you would have. But it just feels like it would have been mind-boggling to try and do this without letters. Anyway, all of that aside, I hope that you loved the puzzle like I did. Give it a heart if you solve it, and that you enjoyed the video as well. And let me know down in the comments whether the music stays or goes when I'm actually solving the Sudoku. At least for the introduction, I'm planning to keep it. Alright, see you back for the next video. Bye bye for now.